What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Two Fit Black Guys, the podcast all about everyday health and fitness. I am TJ from Addictive Fit.
And I am Jay Murph with OFBG Fitness.
And today we're discussing making time for self-care. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. I'm about past due for self-care. Speaking of topic, but I'm glad we about to get into this one, man. I'm good, man. It's been actually pretty decent day considering my week has been filled with madness.
Yeah.
And I know you can speak to that on your end as well, but
Man,
you know,
you're not lying.
It feels good to be. Sometimes it feels good to just be like, what do I have to do today? Nothing.
Nothing. I love it. Nothing. Man.
That's a day well lived, man.
Yeah.
So I know you had a busy week with everything that was going on.
Yeah, man, it was a chief season. So, for all my Navy folks out there or all my service members, the Navy is unique when you're crossing over from E6 to E7. I think we're the only branch in the armed services where we have an initiation for those that are going into senior leadership ranks. So, or at least for the enlisted side. So, yeah, we had the final night for our new chiefs, and basically that just it's a all day, all night event where we basically almost like a fraternity sorority. We're going over several different lessons that they should have learned throughout the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And then we basically it's just that test period for them. So we pushed them, we pushed them kind of hard, and then at the end of the night, they get accepted into our fraternity, into our fellowship. So that was a long day, long night. Of course, I'm one of the committee leads, so all I was doing is just walking around and being a part of every event, and it was man.
It was a day, huh?
It was a day. It was a day. So, and then on top of that, I think I only got maybe that night I probably only got 4 hours of sleep to get back up and go and do the pinning ceremony. I went to 2 pinning ceremonies, and then still had my full day to for responsibilities and as in nature. So yeah, busy.
Yeah, well, I think this is a good time to actually get into this topic as well, because we come across a lot of people who deal with living a busy schedule, living a busy life with a insurmountable amount of responsibilities between their job, between their family, so on and so forth. And a lot of times, especially as leaders of the household, there's a tendency to put, you definitely want to make sure that your family's taken care of first.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that could come at the sacrifice of taking away some things you could be doing for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And while that is definitely understandable, definitely honorable, we do, I think with the course of the last, I would say in my estimation, maybe 5 or 10 years, I think self-care has been more, what's the term I'm looking for? More encouraged.
Yes.
Even amongst your family who know and appreciate the things that you're doing for them. And, but they still want you to make sure that you are also taking that time for yourself.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and let's get into the topic for today.
Yeah. So, I think before we really get into, what we can do for self-care and identifying, some of the barriers that prevent us from being able to spend more time focusing on our own wellness, need to first understand why self-care is important. So what, in your words, why is self-care important to you?
Well, I think in order to be able to do those things that you want to do for your family and to be able to be the best producer, the best provider, the best service person to, I mean, the military, but even at your job, to be the best employee, to be the most equipped employee, I think you do need to have time to assess yourself, making sure that you're physically in good shape, make sure that you're mentally in good shape.
Right.
And, it's like with we'll say a car, car needs maintenance every once in a while. You can't just run it till the wheels fall off. You got to make sure, you got to make sure the oil's changed. You got to make sure tires are rotated. You got to get your tune up. You got to get your alignment. There's things that we do periodically with our vehicles to make sure that they're functioning and they're able to last long and to be able to take us to and from work, to and from school. And ourselves is the same way. I think that's the main reason, is because a lack of self-care can be a hindrance on those things that you want to do for working, being a parent, being a spouse, so I think it's important just to make sure that you aren't running yourself into the ground.
Yeah, I agree. I believe, me personally, I believe when it comes to self-care, I think it gives you I think it establishes your self-worth, because you've heard over the, last few years, and it's been highlighted more about mental health. I feel like self-care, that's all wrapped up into self-care, and just needing to maintain a healthy relationship with yourself. That's going to allow for you to have positive feelings and confidence and self-esteem. All of those things is I think what self-care does for you, along with the physical wellness of it, making time to take care of yourself in all of those respects. So
Absolutely. So when I'm watching my shows, woman, don't interrupt me. I'm nah, man. It's funny because there's different, and I think we'll tap into that a little bit later. But the idea of self-care, it could be a multitude of things. I think people at certain times we tend to think that it's specific. They are more common things, like you think of self-care, you think of like a massage or a spa, which are very fantastic thing. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I don't know if you get a pedicure, brother, but I've been shown the light in recent years.
Oh yeah, of course.
I've been shown the light. But I only say that because it was once upon a time. Men don't get pedicures, men don't get manicures, and then one day you got one, and
man, if it wasn't for my wife, I probably never would have got one.
That's exactly.
I tell you this, I ain't walking in there by myself, and I ain't walking in there with no another dude. So
yeah, we still got a ways to go, ladies. Yeah. We still got a ways to go.
You're right.
Yeah, but yeah, like I'm kind of the same way. Like, yo, Sharon, but I need to you get your feet done. you get your yeah, she think it's a shot at her. I'm like, no. It's I would also like to
go. Yep. I would like to indulge in foot care.
Exactly. I would too would like to partake.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man. But there's a multitude of healthy ways, of course, to unwind and take care of yourself and just have that peace. Absolutely. And just to not necessarily compartmentalize, but kind of compartmentalize. Mm-hmm. Work is work. Rest is rest. And I think sometimes, we definitely got to make sure that we separate the two.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I agree. So then, understanding that, why it's so important, we deal with the reality that time, we seem to be, or at least some of the excuses that we've given or told ourselves is, hey, I don't have enough time. I wish there was more than 24 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real. There's only 24 hours, and how you utilize those 24 hours effectively is each individual's responsibility. So if your 24 hours consist of you taking care of everyone else, or putting more um, you know long hours at work, and then coming home and being a slave to the home with little time for yourself and little time to rest, then we must, one, identify those barriers within our schedule that prevents us from giving ourselves the time that we
Mm-hmm.
need to take care of ourselves, and then um, allowing ourselves to prioritize the things that are more important, and ridding ourselves of those time wasters that will allow for us to really, really give ourselves the freedom or the time to indulge in self-care activities.
Yeah, I agree. So I think time is definitely a barrier that is I would say the most common barrier,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just something that I think we hear it so much from other people when we talk
Right.
about, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I think we're just conditioned to believe that what we have time for is our time, and we can't, for some reason, we can't adjust it. We can't change it. We can't do anything about it except just accept it. And I think that is the number one thing that I think gets in a lot of people's way, is the fact that they don't feel they have time. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to have, I have this project at work, and those things that, again, they end up bleeding over into your personal life,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be something that causes you to, again, you're overworking yourself. Another barrier, and I just thought of this, but you could say for adults or parents as a whole, but I think for men especially, I think sometimes as men, our biggest barrier sometimes is admitted that we need a break.
Yeah.
We have to be so strong and so tough, and especially as a provider of your family.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've, for the longest time, we just been, men. And of course, when I say men, I mean, upstanding men, not bums, but,
Mm-hmm.
upstanding men. You know, we don't really complain. We get it done. We know if it don't get done, it won't. If don't nobody do it, it won't get done.
Right.
So we just put our head down, and we just make sure that whatever needs taken care of gets taken care of. If kids need something for school, you got to pick up some more hours at work to, I just pick up some more hours. I just work a little overtime. I just,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? It's just, you just do it. You just do it. You can be tired, and I say that because, I've had older relatives who, I say my grandfather, on my mom's side, he essentially worked himself to death.
Mm.
And I don't even think he was 60 years old.
Mm.
I don't even think he made it to 60. Um, but my mom always told me about, he just worked all the time. He literally, he worked at a factory, and it was pretty much, that was essentially his life. It was working. And he got sick, and he passed away. And, oh no, pardon me. He had a heart attack.
Mm.
He had a heart attack. Um, So it's just one of those things. And I think fast forwarding to now, we're a little bit more health conscious about not doing that. But I think even still, with men and sometimes our own egos, we don't express certain things that is going on with us. You know,
Right.
um, we're dealing with mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another stigma, of course, in the Black community, I would say, but again, with men in particular, is we create these, and again, just going back to the barrier conversation, it's something that we create in our mind that, oh, I could tough it out. I could,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So I think that's something else that we tend to do to ourselves is we like to, you know, there's honor in going through it and being, you know, it's like the boxer who he may lose more fights than he wins, but he gets up, he takes punches, and for some reason there's a certain respect that person gets because there's admiration of being able to take a beating.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes that works to our detriment in, you know, working 80 plus hours a week. You know, that's admirable, don't get me wrong, but again, that's like running the car hot.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and with you saying that I thought that was pretty interesting about the boxer. We put so much emphasis on when it comes to men. We put so much emphasis on what it means to be tough, you know, and not understanding that probably one of the toughest things you can do is just admitting when you can't do something, you know, because there's always, we can't be vulnerable. Men can't be vulnerable, or men have to carry themselves in a manner to where we are hard, we're solid, you know, and that works to our detriment because, you know, we too have our own weaknesses, but to show weakness means we're not tough enough, you know.
Yep.
So and that can be a barrier. That's a huge barrier.
Absolutely.
And I think with that, we find ourselves, you know, you was talking about your grandfather, you know, working, you know, men feeling like that's all they have to, they have to do that, you know. I think I heard something or saw something about, you know, stay-at-home dads. Like they're looked down upon.
Negative stigma. I mean? Yep. Negative stigma. Yep.
But I look at some of these stay-at-home mothers, and I have kids, and I've stayed home with my kids before. And let me tell you, I salute. I salute anybody that can stay home with kids.
Let me tell you something, bro. I don't have children, but what I will say, and this is a very small sample size. Mm-hmm. I've had clients for whatever reason, their daycare situation didn't work out. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, you can bring your son. You can bring him for the session. Mm-hmm. And bro, within 30 minutes, bro, I'm like, yo, get this kid out of here. Get this kid out of here, right, man. So I've heard stay-at-home mom, even the stay-at-home mom has been like especially like this with the modern working woman. Mm-hmm. There's been like a negative connotation on the woman who stays at home, takes care of her kids. I'm like, yo, that's a job, man.
That's a job. I respect. Yeah, I respect anybody that can do it. You know what I mean? Because first of all, you staying at 4 walls with all day with kids.
Exactly. You'll be begging to get a job. Yo, let me, man, yo, can I apply somewhere and just drop them off at daycare?
Man, work is the break.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Work is the break.
So listen, man, it's crazy. But like you said, with just certain stigmas, I think that prevent people in general, but I would say men, from having a level of that vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those things can hinder us. And at the end of the day, you know, no one wants to die, right? So
right.
we because what happens when something happens after the fact? Oh man, hey brothers, make sure you're going to the doctor. Hey brothers, make sure you're getting checked out. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying Chadwick was I'm not saying he didn't practice self-care, mm-hmm. but when he passed away from cancer in what was he, 42? Mm-hmm. All of a sudden it was, fellas, make sure you're getting checked. Make sure you're getting your checkups for your, you know, whether it be your prostate, your colon, whatever have you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're getting your physicals. Make sure you're, you know, it'd be times where men don't go to the doctor because they don't, you know, they're afraid they might hear some news that they don't want to hear.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, it's just a little pain. I'm good. Just a little minor stomach pain. No, ain't no biggie.
Mm-hmm.
We wait till we done fell out somewhere and we get rushed to the hospital. Now all of a sudden, oh man, doctor says you got to do this or make your arrangements, make sure your will's in order.
Right.
So, I think that's another barrier. Another one that I thought about, and I'll let you tap into this as well because I don't want to be over talking. But
no, you're good.
Being comfortable can be a barrier. Sometimes self-care requires a change of some sort, and people don't like change.
I never thought of that. That's good.
They like things the way they are. So the idea of, oh, I gotta write the schedule down. I gotta make an appointment. Like the idea of having to get more organized with your life when it's in chaos, that bothers people. They've been so comfortable with the chaos that you say, hey, why don't you write a schedule out of your daily activities? Try to organize yourself a little bit better. I don't do well with that. I like to, I'm good on the fly. I'm good at, they're comfortable, even in the midst of their chaos, that's comfortable for them because they've allowed it to become a daily norm.
Yep.
So anything that can actually make them their lives possibly more convenient in terms of making time for self-care, i.e. making a schedule, that becomes bothersome. I don't have time to write down no schedule. Now we're going back to the time thing now.
Yep.
So comfort sometimes is also our biggest enemy. You ever seen somebody who they like live in their house, not to say the house is dirty, but let's say they have like clothes everywhere. And you say, no, don't move my clothes because I know where everything is at.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Hey, yeah, somebody say, hey, I washed your clothes and I folded them. What you did that for?
Yeah.
now you mad because now you're upset because they've in the effort of trying to make things organized and more the way it should be, you've become adapted to a lifestyle of clothes everywhere.
Yep.
But I know where everything's at. Yeah. So, but yeah, when chaos becomes your normal, trying to rearrange back to normal is chaotic.
Agreed.
That's uncomfortable.
Yep. So how do we overcome some of these barriers?
Well, I think to piggyback off of the identification is we have to be able to be honest with ourselves, to be honest. And if you like expressing the fact that I need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break because the eventually built up frustration, built up exhaustion is going to come to a head. It's going to, at some point, it's going to reveal itself. You may pass out. You may be driving home and fall asleep at the wheel. You may, black out somewhere. It all comes to a head at some point. So the first thing to do is to just be honest. Just be honest. And, I need a break, man. I need a break. And the thing about that is if people know that you're working hard and you're really out here, like you're doing your 12 hours a day, when they hear you say you need a break, they gonna say, all right, bro. Hey, bro, go ahead, take a day off, bro. Cause I don't never hear you say you need a break.
Yeah.
So people will make a way to, okay, go ahead, man. Take a couple of days off. Or hey, babe, just I pick the kids up. You know what I'm saying? Just get some rest. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Somebody actually recently just told me that. Because I haven't taken leave in a year, probably a little over a year. I haven't had any haven't taken any time off in terms of so in the military we're always on duty, right? 24/7. So at any time we can be called to do something or whatever, even during this pandemic where we have had to telework or whatnot. So I'll say for my job specifically, if I don't have a mission, if there's no ship for me to visit, or I don't have anything to do inside of my office, then there's no point in me going to work, stay home, But there's still the mental capacity on that, because even though I may not be physically in the building, whatever, I'm still kind of like on guard just in case I have to go in to work or I have to answer up for something, right? Like I'm not in a leave status where I don't have to worry about checking in for work, or hey, no one is going to be calling me or bothering me during this time while I'm on leave. So I haven't been off guard for well over a year. Um, and when I brought up, because so for me, I typically won't take leave unless I'm leaving the area. Because for me, I have to leave my environment. You know what I mean? So like I can't just be home and be on leave. I can. I just, for me, I normally would just leave the environment, knowing how I am. I need to be gone, because that's how I can truly have that restoration, where I'm not worried about the day to day work in the home
Yeah.
and things I need to do at home and the things with the kids and stuff. Like I actually got to get away in order for me to get that mental restoration. Um, but I have, like, the Navy or the military period. Um, every year, we get 30 days worth of leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have 100, 101 is what I have, and that's 2 years,
Yeah.
almost that's like 2.5 years worth of, almost 2.5 years worth of leave time. And I don't take 30 days in a year. I'll take a week here, a week there. I may take uh 15, maybe 15 days a year. I may take of leave, you know, and then make the best of the holidays, the downtime for the holidays.
So let me ask you, not to put you on Front Street, but is there any reason that you don't take the days off?
Um, so honestly, the pandemic has been just interesting, right?
Okay.
Because I'm used to traveling. That's my, for me, self-care. I mean, when it comes to the mental side of it and the rest restorative side of it, um, me getting away, traveling, leaving the area and just leaving like the normalcy of my regular life is what works for me. And in order for me to do that, um, in order for me to do that, I'll take leave, but I have to leave. I'm not one of those cats that will take leave and then stay home. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Yeah, I like to truly, when I go on vacation, I like to go on vacation. Uh, so that's why I haven't done it. And I just basically, I'll take whatever time I can um, at home. When I don't have to go in the office, I'll take whatever time I can. Maybe I won't push myself as much, or it allow for me to get ahead in the home or something, so that my wife, who's still going to work, don't have to come home and have certain things on her plate. Because I have to be in a relationship, in marriage or whatever. You still have to be you're still concerned about the self-care and the wellness of your family and your
Absolutely.
partners and stuff.
Absolutely.
So I'll find the time for me to devote to myself in that time period. Me more has been, I'm always more focused on the physical side of it, because regardless of what I got going on, like I think I was telling you this yesterday. Even with everything that I had going on this past week with the work, and with the Chief season and the final night and the pinnings and all that other stuff, and only getting 3-4 hours of sleep within those 48 hours, I still got up, and even though I was tired, I still found a way to get my daily workout in, you know, get me moving, get my blood going. I felt like it helped. It still helps me to, you know, push on, move forward through the day. You know, I feel like it gives me a type of give me some like energy boost in a sense. Um, you know, but I still want to make sure that my household is still able to get their, you know, their own self-care and be able to take care of themselves without having to so much, you know, worry about being in school or being at work all day and then coming home and then having to take care of the daily things at home. I'll take that off their plate and then get that time, you know, in the back end. I feel like, and then I also feel like if I can lower the stress of the home. So if I can kind of like have that stress management where like maybe my wife is not uh panicking or feeling like overwhelmed with, you know, maybe trying to cook dinner or, you know, get the boys situated with baths or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do what I can to like help alleviate some of that stress, because if your partner is stressed out or your kids are like over the top, that in turn is going to stress you out as well.
So that comes back to you.
Yeah. So I
That's
feel
that's
like,
interesting.
yeah. So I feel like if I can like help her with her stress management on the back end, it will help me with mine. Shoot, maybe she might help me, you know, release some of my own stress if I have any.
So that's actually interesting because that does make more sense as to why people can tend to be reluctant to take self-care, because that time would probably be spent worrying about other people.
Yeah.
Um, my girlfriend is probably one of the biggest warriors on the planet. Like she's awesome. She's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I find that she worries about things a lot. And you know, what would you say, how do you help someone, maybe not in your specific situation with like, you know, with a spouse and a family, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, when someone is constantly worried about other people, because this is a barrier that I think is it's well intentioned,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it can ultimately, like I said, it can leave you out in the cold where you're so worried about other people that you may neglect certain things about yourself. How does that person find a way to you know, achieve or to make time for themselves?
Well, I personally, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pray.
Mm,
Okay. Um, because one has to understand that you're not going to be able to be the answer or be the um, do-all resolver of everyone's issues and problems,
mm.
right?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So if we're in a situation, or if a person's in a situation where they're always worried about someone, I mean, it's okay to be concerned, but if you get to a point where you're like overwhelmed because of other people's problems, the first thing I'm gonna tell you to do is to take a step back. Okay. If you cannot be the direct, if you cannot provide a direct and immediate solution to someone else's troubles or situation, step back
Mm,
and then
that's
pray about it.
that's good. That's good. That's really good. I think that's a really good point that you made. Um, as a tip, I think, is to have self-awareness that we're humans, we're not Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't solve everything. So I think a tip that we can implement is to control what you can control,
Mm-hmm.
and what you can't control, you can't worry about it.
Yep.
There's no point in worrying about it. You can't, there's nothing that you can, like you said, there's nothing that you can physically do to tip the scales in any way. It's literally out of your hands. So at this point, let it go. Let it be.
Yeah. You know what we do? you know what we do as humans, and this is probably what causes a lot of worry, is that we get so hung up on what like other people may think about us in terms of I gave I they let's say someone had an issue or problem, whatever, and they were telling me about it, and maybe I feel like people get so caught up in um, not being able to give the other person the response or the solution that they might need, or
Yeah.
that they might be looking for,
Yeah.
because this person decided to entrust you with
Yeah.
a issue or stuff like that. So we feel like we have to take that on instead of just just stepping back for a moment, and recognizing that, hey, maybe I don't have the solution for you. It doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I don't empathize. It's just I'm just at a point where I just can't help you, or I can't help the situation, So I think we need to understand the difference between, sympathize, empathy, and then providing a solution, and not being able to provide a solution, and then that and the stress that it causes on that person. So when you're talking about your girlfriend, is and I'm not, and you don't have to answer this, I'm just saying, it's just because I find myself in a situation where, like, I'll say my mom might have like some things going on, like down where her with her house or something, where she may not have the money, or because I grew up when my mom had always talked about lack of money, and or not being able to afford something and stuff,
Mhm.
as a single parent. um so as I got older, and then, I started making money and stuff, I found myself, taking on some of those, that stress for her not being able to do something because she don't have the funds. So when she's telling me about something or whatever, like, I'm looking at my situation and almost ready to put my own, sacrifice my own welfare and well-being, and my household's well-being, because I want to help her. But did have to get to a point where I had to step back. One, pray for her, pray for a solution or healing or resources for her. And then, if I had something that I could give, if I had something that I could, a resource that I can provide to her, then provide it. But I don't do I try not to do anything, especially when you're dealing with someone else's situation. I try not to immediately be a solution, or provide a solution without taking a step back and praying about it first. You know what I mean? And I mean,
Yeah.
and whatever method anyone, I'm not saying that everyone here, shares my same beliefs, but it's really just taking that time
Yeah.
to really evaluate, your situation, what you can be towards, others, and to another individual that's going through something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in my case with my girlfriend, a lot of it isn't really anything I could fix. So
Mm-hmm.
I just try to provide like a sense of reassurance,
Yeah.
that, that she'll be fine. Um, Recently, it's actually good news. She's about to get a higher position at her job,
Okay.
but it's the worry of, just being able to, because she's very much, she pushes herself and believes in like just being excellent and
Mm-hmm.
being, you perform well at everything that you do, and just taking on a new task, and it's going into a new phase of your career.
Yeah.
There is that level of worry and concern about just wanting to do right. And
Nothing.
I just, in that instance, I just, just reassured her that, you got to where you are now from, putting in a body of work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Nothing wrong with it.
so yeah, so, so it's just more of it in that sense. And, so, and again, the same thing I tell her in certain situations is just, you know, you got to control what you can control.
Yeah.
and don't overstack your plate with things that are gonna, that you can't eat.
Yeah. And that's all normal. It's
Yeah.
normal. Those things are they're normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about prioritizing, those things that's more important.
Yeah.
With Addictive Fit, I always say that you're the asset worth investing into. Okay. So without you being okay, without you taking care of yourself, nothing else happens.
Yeah.
So
That's a fact.
if you're not if you're not in your, in the best mental capacity or in the best physical capacity, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to do anything else. So taking care of yourself should be number one on your priority. So um, for me is one, my relationship with God, praying, and then I go right into taking that time to get my mind right. So I do this all in this is how my schedule works. This is I do it in this order.
Uh-huh.
So I wake up, I pray, get my mind right for the day, Then I go right into I start hydrating right away. So I start with maybe 25 ounces of water right off the bat. Then, depending on the time I wake up, usually somewhere between 5:30. Wake up, hydrate, then I'll find a workout activity that I can do within 20, 30 minutes, right? Just to get it out the way. Front load you first. That's what I do. I start with me first. God,
Mm-hmm.
me, then everybody else. So if I don't take care of myself first, nothing else is going to get taken care of the way it should be taken care of because I didn't get taken care of first. All right. So I think that's the mindset people need to start having. When you wake up, take care of you first.
Mm.
Then worry
Absolutely.
about everything else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got nothing. I think that's a very powerful thing. And just last point, because I think we've hit everything, is just self-care is not selfish.
Absolutely.
It's not. And I think if you don't look at it as being selfish, you'll accept it. You'll accept it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It does help everyone else. It really does help everyone else. Being the best you helps everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So, just I think people should remember that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I do want to just briefly, for those of you who are listening, just take an opportunity just to think about some of the points that we illustrated. Just, ask yourself why self-care is important to you. Take some time and just think about certain things that are getting in your way, whether it be time, whether it be your ego, whether it be your comfort. And then just think about how to rectify those things.
Yep.
Just be honest about needing some help, um, take that time. Like you said, you first, everyone else second.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about it from that point. If you're the best you that you can be, you'll be the best that you can for other people. So
Right.
that's it, man. That's it.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for tuning in to Two Fit Black Guys. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at 2 Fit BLK Guys. And you can follow me, TJ, at fitness_leader_TJ on Instagram.
And I am on Instagram as well at OFBG Fitness. To make it easier for all you guys, the description will have the links to all of our social media, so you can connect with us on there. And that's all I got, brother.
All right. Enjoy your week.
All right. Peace.